Welcome to a Let's Play of Saya no Uda, or The Song of Saya. This is a visual novel, and usually this isn't my cup of tea. With the exception of Toki Toki Literature Club, I've never really read one. Anyways, I've heard a lot of good things about this, and I wanted to give it a shot. Alright, so that's enough of that. This story is a work of fiction. The medical procedures and conditions described herein are imaginary, and something I couldn't read. That is extremely loud. The wriggling mass of flesh burbles. I should probably take this thing off. 3 such creatures sit around the table in front of me, slurping filthily sludge from their cups as they trade whines, growls, and sounds that I can't describe. Oh, space is just a remove, and I thought I could proceed with it. Oh, nice. Silent Hill. By listening carefully, I am able to grasp the gist of their conversation and respond when it is required of me. This is necessary to avoid arousing their suspicion. However, these creatures may look. They are my friends, apparently. I wish that I could still deny it, but I gave up on that a long time ago. Night after night, I went to sleep praying for an end to this nightmare, only to wake each morning to the same twisted hellscape as the day before. I know now that I have to blend in, and that I have to act like one of them. Such has been my life these 3 past months, and so it will remain until the day I die. Judging by its tone, this one must be Koji, and the one next to him, squealing more than the others, is probably Omi. Which means that the one next to me is Yell, though I can no longer see any trace of her once attractive features. I try my best to ignore the rotten stench of excrement that issues from her quivering flesh. Everything has changed, or almost everything. By some cruel trick of fate, my relationship to the world alone remains the same, as if an insane architect took the blueprints of my life and rebuilt it out of blood and gore. These monsters and I were part of the same college club. We studied together, ate together, even went skiing together every winter break. Now these are but painful memories of days that will never return. If only no one recognized me, I might have been able to disconnect myself from the world. It would have been comforting, in comparison, to believe that I had been abducted by aliens or that I had stumbled through a gateway to hell. No, this is beyond a doubt the city where I was born and raised, the society that I was part of for 20 years, save that I, and I alone, can no longer see it that way. Is this... so these are your friends? Like, literally, they're just now monsters. That's awful. That's absolutely, like, incredibly shitty. The world as I knew it is gone. I have no place to call home. Jesus, dude, you've been doing this for, like, how many... you said, like, what, a week? How have you not, like, blown your brains out? Or, like, you know, stepped in front of a train or something? Anyway, I can tell that whatever they're talking about is of no importance to me. I decide to keep quiet while pretending to listen. But just then, one of the flesh beasts says as it swivels its bloodshot eyes toward me, "What do you think?" I try desperately to suppress my loathing and behave normally, but my hoarse voice ruins the attempt. A slimy hole near the top of the creature writhes nauseatingly as it vomits some semblance of words. That must be Koji's face, or what I would have seen such as 3 months ago. 3 months! You've been dealing with this shit for 3 months! Unable to stomach the sight of it, I avert my eyes and give a neutral answer. I don't know. You have other plans? Not really. These were my closest companions. One of them had even wished me to be more. How many nights have I spent crying in loneliness, lamenting the friends who no longer exist? In 3 months, my tears ran dry, and now there is only loathing left in me. Surrounded by hideous creatures that I can only assume are Koji, Homi, and Yo. I spend each day trying to act as if I always have. If I fail at this, I'll surely be sent back to the hospital. That might not be a bad idea. Only this time I'll be locked away forever. No matter what, I won't let that happen. I mean, it's not like physical activity could affect your injuries, right? I'm not sure. I'll ask the doctor during my checkup. That's it. I can't look at them or bear their screeching any longer. I jump to my feet, desperate to escape. Hey, Fumonori. A spray of stringy slime from the cilia around the voice box flies at me. I try to cover myself, but it's too late to keep the slime from splattering across my face like the yolk of a rotten egg. I'm about to lose it. I want to grab a chair, a desk, anything within reach and use it to smash the life out of this creature, ending it all. I barely suppress the impulse. I mustn't let on anything is wrong. However they look to me, this is their world and I'm the outsider here. Like I said, today's my checkup. I've gotta go. Struggling to put on a smile, I reached into my wallet, pull out the first bill I find and put it on the table without even looking at it. I don't care about the change, I just need to get out of here. Now. Later, I mutter hastily and flee the cafeteria. I'm not crazy. Hey, says... Well, I don't know if I should read it if they're saying Japanese, but I'll do it anyways. Hey, says Takahata Omi. Why don't we go somewhere we can skate for this year's ski trip? Tsukaba Yo frowns at the suggestion. Skate? But why go to a ski resort to skate? Give her a break, Tsukaba. It's all she talks about these days. Man, I am butchering these names really hard. Koji supports Omi with a laugh. Her impromptu suggestions are nothing new, and it's Koji's role as her boyfriend to provide backup. They're a good match for each other, Yo thinks. Sometimes it makes her jealous. I mean, she'd seriously never gone skating before I took her the other day. Hey, is it really that strange? I guess not, actually. I don't know how to skate. I don't even know how to skateboard or ski or anything. I think snowboarding would be pretty hype to go do, you know? Not many people start skating in their 20s, you know. I was scared when I was little. Those shoes look like big knives. But you picked it up just like that. That's pretty amazing, homie. It's a lot like skiing. You keep your weight forward and use the angle of the shoes to steer. He made it sound so easy, I figured I should give it a try, and it was fun. So it was a date. Yo feels a stab of envy. Koji and Omi enjoy their time together, as normal lovers do. That's certainly not something that should arouse jealousy, it's just that their luck in love has been bad. Oh, well, I want to go see Omi skate too. Yo keeps her voice uppy, trying to cover up her internal conflict. She knows that it's wrong to envy her friends. She too would be spending time with the man she admires if not for the terrible tragedy that befell him. His true misfortune. Her bad luck doesn't begin to compare. So, how about it? If we make the next ski trip to his skating trip too, it'll be twice as fun. You guys have really big foreheads. Like 5 heads almost. But you can skate at a skating rink, can't you? Why go all the way to a ski resort? I don't want to skate indoors. I want to skate outside on a lake or something. That sounds fun, but won't it be crowded? While speaking, Yo sneaks a sideways glance at the young man sitting next to her. Although the conversation has involved only 3 people so far, there are in fact 2 couples at the cafeteria table. Yo's boyfriend, though there's still some doubt over whether he could be called that, is beside her, as silent and as expressionless as a statue. Hey, Fumonori, what do you think? Perhaps Koji sensed Yo's pain in his unusual, quiet, and considerable way. About what? Because of Yo's distress, Fumonori responds to Koji's sudden query with a vague, mumbled question of his own. We're talking about this winter ski trip. You're coming too, right? Koji speaks gingerly, as though probing a tumor. A few months ago, he would not have hesitated to rebuke Fumonori for his attitude. Their long acquaintance has forged a strong and honest friendship, but now... I don't know, Fumonori responds bluntly, his downcast eyes and sullen demeanor making it clear that he has no desire to break his silence. You have plans? Not really. Even Koji, Fumonori's best friend, cannot communicate with him as before. What hope does Yo have of breaking through his shell? The scars left by the events of that late summer day are still deep all these months later. Each one of the 4 bears them, not only Fumonori. I mean, it's not like physical activity could affect your injuries, right? Not sure. I'll ask the doctor during my checkup. As though that answer drained the last of his patience, Fumonori bolts out of his chair. Fumonori. Even Koji can't keep his voice from raising as he tries to stop Fumonori from leaving. Fumonori reacts swiftly, throwing his hand over his face as though to shield himself from something terrifying. Maybe some spit flew inadvertently from Koji's mouth, but that sort of thing happens during everyday conversation. Fumonori's reaction is beyond the pale. Like I said, Fumonori snaps, making no attempt to relieve the discomfort of his friends. Today's my checkup. I have to go. Even as he tosses money on the table to pay for his coffee, he acts like he's touching something filthy. Later. Fumonori stalks out of the cafeteria, almost as if he's running away. Cloaked in heavy silence, the remaining 3 lower their gaze to the table, where the abandoned 10,000 yen bill sways forlornly. Fumonori's coffee is untouched. I can't take this anymore, Homie says with a sigh, but Koji shakes his head reproachfully. Fumonori just needs a little more time. But it's been 3 months. What's with his attitude? I feel like I'm going crazy hanging around him. Hey, I don't understand what he's going through either. I don't think any of us can. Can you imagine losing your whole family like that? That'd screw anyone up. Wait, what happened exactly? Was it like a car crash, or... It's gotta be a car crash. If you lose your whole family, it's gotta be something like that. It could have happened to anyone. A tractor trailer flipped over on the highway, crushing the Sakisaka family car into twisted scrap. They said it had been difficult to tell the bodies of Fumonori's parents apart. For a while, it looked like there was no hope for Fumonori either. It was nothing short of a miracle that he was able to leave the hospital and return to normal life. He was worse when he went to see him in the hospital, remember? He was terrified of us. Like he didn't know who we were. He even had to be tied to the bed. He freaked out so bad. I'm just glad he's made it this far. There's still something strange about him. What's with the way he looks at us? It's like we're not even human. Cut it out, homie, Koji says forcefully. Probably less out of empathy for his friend than out of consideration for you. But Koji's kindness makes her happy. Yo also knows that she mustn't take advantage of it. Fumonori is the victim, just as Koji said. He's the one that deserves the most sympathy. Yo's feelings for Fumonori are her problem and no one else's. She doesn't blame Fumonori for not giving her an answer after she worked up the courage to ask him out. In fact, she thinks even more fondly of him for his serious consideration of her feelings than she would have had she treated their relationship casually. Apparently, the fact that Fumonori did not reject her was enough to make them a couple in Koji and Nomi's eyes. They've had plenty of fun at Yo and Fumonori's expense since. The truth of it, though, is that he still hasn't given her an answer. After revealing her feelings to him, Yo didn't see Fumonori again until a week later, and then she could only stare at his broken body through the window of the ICU. And when he was finally released, after 50 days that seemed like an eternity, he was somehow different. She started to doubt that he even remembers what she confessed to him before the accident. Now winter's coming, and her feelings hang in the forgotten in the cold, lonely air. Dr. Tambo Ryoko has never had more troublesome patient. Has there been any changes since your last visit, Mr. Sakasaka? I cannot pronounce that name. I'm just gonna call him Mr. Saki. No, nothing to speak of. His voice is hard and flat. His words toss carefully into the air. It's like he's speaking to himself in an empty room. Ryoku is a surgeon, not a psychiatrist, but even she can sense the thickness of the wall he's erected between himself and the world. Any nausea, dizziness, or hallucinations? No. While Saki appears to be looking at Ryoku, his gaze is actually aimed at a fraction down and to the side. He's only superficially engaged in the conversation, when in truth it does not interest him in the slightest. Perfect rejection. Realizing that he can't interview him like this, Ryoku sighs and sets her chart aside. Mr. Saki, the procedure you received at this hospital was the latest in experimental neurosurgery. We explained this before, didn't we? Treatment of the subdural hematoma through the use of micromachines, a procedure available in Japan exclusively here at the T University Medical Center, had been the only way to save Saki Fumonori from a cerebral contusion that would have been fatal. So he had a really bad concussion and probably internal bleeding. With any experimental treatment, there is always the risk of unexpected complications. Of course. Saki Fumonori's lips twist slightly in what may be a bitter or mocking smile, but it's gone before Ryoku can discern its meaning. Normally, I would never say anything to frighten a patient, but there have been reports of serious neurological disorders post-surgery. We must continue to monitor your condition carefully. Hence these weekly checkups, if only he would take them a little more seriously. How was last week's MRI? Saki asked abruptly, as if to catch Ryoku off guard. MRI, Magnetic resonance imaging is a way for doctors to examine the brain in detail without opening the patient's skull. Surprised by Saki's uncommon technical knowledge, Ryoku recalls his profile. Oh, that's right, you're a medical student, aren't you? The kind of anomaly you're worried about should show up on an MRI, right? Did you find anything? No. There was nothing, not the slightest hint of abnormal activity for a procedure with such a low rate of success. The results have been nothing short of miraculous. However, something still bothers Ryoku. She can't shake the feeling that he's hiding something beneath his guarded exterior. Something terrible weight on his soul, perhaps. Maybe it's like, I don't know, the fact that his entire family died in a car crash. That could probably weigh on someone's soul. But if this inorganic problem, then there's nothing she can do as long as he refuses to explain it. I'm fine, doctor. I lived on my own for 3 months without any problems. What could go wrong now? Alright, so it's been almost 6 months since he's been in that car crash, right? So he was strapped down for 50 days and then for 3 months. Or, okay, yeah, so about that. Please, you know that continued observation is required of these difficult surgeries. You have to trust us a little more. I suppose you're right, and I do want to trust you, doctor. Can I come to you with anything? Yeah, dude, of course, Ryoku answers, smiling up to cover her irritation. Saki asks exactly the same question during last week's visit. Well then, let's pick up where we left off. Have you learned anything about Dr. Ogai? Unable to answer, Ryoku hardens the mask of her smile. As before, the patient is inquiring about someone he has no business knowing. If you don't mind my asking, what does Dr. Ogai have to do with your treatment? You just told me to trust you, and now you're keeping secrets. Ryoku is used to the patient treating her with hostility. After all, some degree of paranoia is natural when dealing with someone who holds your life in their hands. In Saki, however, she doesn't see the short-sighted impatience that other patients exhibit. His demeanor is perfectly calm, almost like a detective questioning a suspect. He left this hospital some time ago. I never had any contact with him myself. Do you know why he left? Yeah, I believe it was personal, Ryoku answers smoothly, her early hesitation gone. Having decided that the outside to lie, she has no trouble doing so with a straight face. But why do you keep asking about Dr. Ogai? Do you know him? Did you know that the doctor has gone missing? No. Ryoku realizes that her answer might have been a little too quick. She should have acted more surprised. I've recently become close with a relative of his. It was she who asked me to find him. A relative, Ryoku considers this with a frown. I didn't think Dr. Ogai had any relatives. Oh, who told you that? I heard it from a nurse. Ryoku replies, remembering that she is calm, that she just claimed to have no contact with the man. I see. So the doctor was famous enough for nurses to gossip about him. He was an unusual man, I hear. But no one knows why he left the university. Ryoku falls silent, knowing that this isn't a topic she can brush away with a smile. Saki seems to have finally grasped her mood, however, as his strangely stiff tone softens a little. Doctor, I must absolutely find Dr. Ogai. There's a girl who's lost without him. Can't you help me? Isn't this something the police should handle? Although she makes it sound like the most obvious thing in the world, the suggestion is actually a risky gamble. If Okai's disappearance becomes a police matter, then the university will be investigated. Everyone who is involved in the incident will be at risk of exposure. And of course, this includes Ryoko herself. She knows, however, that Saki is unlikely to go to the police. First of all, his excuse is obviously a lie. They already made sure that Okai had no relatives who might come looking for him, which is why they could bury the truth about what happened. But then, how did Saki, a mere patient, learn about Okai? I'd be happy to help, but there's no word from Dr. Okai since he resigned last April. I can only assume he's gone on to an extended vacation. I see. Expecting resistance, Ryoko is surprised when Saki backs down. She's still worried about his condition, and the mysterious link between him and Okai is only making her more uneasy. But as long as he doesn't open up to her, there's nothing she can do. After a brief pause, Ryoko writes progress good on Saki's chart for today. About next week's appointment, how does 4 o'clock sound? Before she can finish, Saki is gone. Huh. Well, this is not good. Honestly, you should probably just confess. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, you get free reign of places like this, covered in flesh. Like, it's not even about freedom at this point. It looks like someone sprayed the walls with pig guts from ceiling to floor. What color should the walls of a hospital be? White, of course. And the creatures of rotten flesh shambling around me. I'm sure this hallway looks just as white as it should be. I know intellectually that the walls are white. I know the flesh beasts are really human. I'm the one with the problem, and it's because I've accepted this that I'm able to lead something approaching a normal life. Even my university's medical department is nowhere near as good as T University's. I'm still a medical student specializing in neurology. I have a basic idea of what has happened to me, though it's hard to believe. This isn't a pathological condition. It's probably some sort of agnosia, unlike anything that has ever been studied before. The flesh beast called Tanbo Ryoko said that other patients had developed neurological disorders after receiving the same treatment I did. So I guess I'm just another failure. It makes me want to laugh in that know-it-all doctor's face. You should probably tell people about this, so they're not ending up in a flesh hell. I'm just gonna say it, like, throw it out there, dude, come on. That said, I don't blame the doctors who operated on me. After all, I do owe them my life. I know as well as anyone how low the chance of success was, and that I had no other hope of survival. I was unlucky, that's all there was to it. The point is that my condition isn't treatable. Just like someone adapting to hearing aid or a wheelchair, I have no force but to adapt to this nauseating scenery. Of course it's hard. It wasn't easy to resign myself to this fate. But now there's more than just despair. Even for me, there is a glimmer of hope. Keeping my eyes on my feet so as to see as little of this horrifying world as possible, I hurry home. I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood, in a house that's much too large for me alone. My parents, even unluckier than I was, died in the accident 3 months ago. I couldn't even go to the funeral for being in intensive care. I had to sell my father's business, but at least that left me with a house and enough money to live on for a while. Of course, I'm sad, but the accident took from me more than my parents. In fact, being on my own has probably saved me. If they were still alive, my parents would never have allowed me to live with some strange girl after all. Welcome home. As I open the door, a bright voice greets me from the kitchen. The voice is beautiful and clear as a bell. Human. Its sweet sound washes the day's cacophony from memory. I'm home, Saya. Even the patter of feet coming down the hallway is music to my ears. No one else in the city can I hear such footsteps. Only in this house. With Saya, I'm so privileged.
遅かったね。ちょっと心配しちゃったぞ。
What is with your hair? Do you have... Well, now it's just kind of flared out. I thought those were... What's it called? I thought it was like ears. Okay. Where was I? You're late. I was a little worried. Sorry, I had to stop by the hospital today. Oh, that was today. And her smile and the inquisitive tilt of her head is everything I've lost. Since my accident, this girl is the only person I've met, perhaps the only person in the entire world who does not trigger my cognitive disorder. That is a massive red flag. You should not live with the interdimensional Wally, if this is what you're seeing. True, her skin seems too white, and the color of her eyes and her hair is probably different in reality. But even so, her form is undeniably human. It's not just her appearance and her voice, but also her. As I bend down to take off my shoes, Saya wraps her arms around my neck and gently pulls me into her tiny bosom. Her skin feels truly human, not cold or slimy, and from her hair wafts the sweet fragrance of a young girl. Oh no. Okay, you know what, he's college, she's in college. We're gonna throw it out there right now. In all the world, only Saya is pleasing to my five senses. And what's more, she smiles at me, embraces me. She knows that she's my salvation, and for some reason, is happy that I need her. If I had not met Saya, if I had been all alone in this twisted, filth-ridden world, I would no doubt have succumbed to madness. It's no exaggeration to say that Saya alone is keeping me alive. What'd you do today? Worked on the living room. The painting's half done, and now I'm making your dinner like I learned from the TV. Oh, sounds good. It'll take a little longer. Can you wait? Sure, I'll do some more work in the living room. After I see the humming Saya off to the kitchen, I step into the living room. I realized one day that if the natural colors of the world were sickening, all I had to do was paint over them with colors that seemed pleasant. Oh, okay. I went to the hardware store and bought every color of paint I could find, and then Saya and I tried different combinations until we found one that worked. After painting the bedroom from ceiling to floor, I was able to get my first good night's sleep since the accident. When we first started on the living room, Saya, unsure what to do with the curtains, just painted carefully around the windows without a moment's hesitation. I tore the curtains down and painted over the glass itself. There'll never be anything out there that I want to see, and as long as we keep the storm shutters closed, the neighbors probably won't think anything of it. Dinner's ready. Can you bring it in here? As she enters the living room with a tray of food, Saya sniffs the air. The paint smell doesn't bother you. Now that she mentions it, I suppose the smell of paint thinner must be building up in this closed room. It doesn't really bother me, though. There are far worse smells outside. Does it bother you, Saya? No, I'm fine if you are. Saya sets the food on the table. Unfortunately, neither its color nor its smell is at all appetizing. Not that food elsewhere is any different. Thanks, Saya. As has become routine, I steel myself and methodically transport the food in my mouth. The taste is as gut-wrenching as I expected, but it's not Saya's fault. I'm sure she made it exactly like the cooking show said. It's just that my taste buds can't accept it. It's not good, she asked hesitantly. Well, no. Lying won't make Saya happy. She knows about my condition. Don't worry about it. I'll make something different tomorrow. Sorry, you always go to the trouble of cooking, but It's fine. If I keep trying, we'll find something you'll like. In my current state, eating is nothing more than an unwelcome duty. As much as I hate it, I need food to survive. If I stay alive, then perhaps one day, as Saya says, I'll be able to taste something delicious again. I met Saya, didn't I? Aren't you gonna eat? No, I already ate. In all the time we've been together, Saya's never once eaten with me. I don't know why she refuses to do so. It makes me a little sad. Still, I'm not about to push the issue. Not when she's putting up with all the problems I have. By the way, I asked about your father again. About Dad. Dr. Ogai says Saya's father is her only relative. Saya has asked me to unravel the mystery of his disappearance. I still wouldn't tell me anything. I get the feeling that they're hiding something. Oh. I expected Saya to be a little more dejected. You haven't given up, have you? No, Saya responds with an unreadable expression. It's not that. She gives a little shake of her head, then smiles at me once again. Thanks for all you're doing for me, Fumi. It's nothing compared to what you've done for me. I thank her for the meal and set my chopsticks down next to the perfectly clean plate. As wretched as the taste was, thinking of the care that Saya put into it gave me the strength to finish every bite. Is it bath time? Do not take a bath with the interdimensional Wally. Don't fucking do it. Yeah, well you what? No! Absolutely not! Ah, oh, god damn it. Alright, if it shows nudity, I'm gonna have to cut it out. Sure. Ever since Saya moved in, it's like having my own wife. Fucking hell. Okay, so that was it. And yeah, there is graphic sex in here. When I looked up this game, I looked to see if it was a porn game. I did not realize that it had pornography. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to cut out that whole thing. Gonna have to remind myself to make a note. God damn it, internet. Why do you recommend things that are just porn?
I have a confession that you're my obsession. You're pulsing through me. The blood is rushing and I am trusting you'll come save me. My knees are feeling weak. Your body's close to me. I want you to come rescue me.